In this video, we're going to expand on Fibonacci sequences, and we're going to have a think about pullbacks. And this is another very, very difficult topic when it comes to crypto, is how far can things run? Sometimes things just run and run and run. And I'm going to talk about dog with hat as well, which is another one where the price just kept going up. So how do you know if any pullback will push on to new highs, or if that's the top? How do you know if we've already reached the top? Remember, anything I discuss here, it's not guaranteed, not 100%, but definitely Fibonacci levels we see again and again in any type of market, especially with cryptocurrency as well. So I'm going to show you a way you can do that. And then we're going to discuss a couple of collections right now and how we would approach them using the same kind of technique, because these are collections that reached more than 1 million. Well, this one touched nearly 1 million. So, you know, how do we know? Is this going to run to 10 million, 20 million? How do we know? Let's have a look back at some of the big collections. So this is GameStop. And I talk about this in the DGEM Playbook guide. And this is one I traded and it did really well. Notice, first of all, the absolute top was exactly 100 million. Can you believe that? Like exactly to the second decimal point. No coincidence, no surprise. Like these are common levels that are magnets for these types of markets. Now, when you were first in this, and when I was first in this, and I was watching this, how do I know any of these pullbacks? For example, from here to here, how do I know if this pullback means we've already reached a top at 35 million? Well, the way I do it is Fibonacci, which we've discussed before on the training. But how you do it from here is each leg up from swing low to swing high. What you can do is you can do a new Fibonacci trace from swing low to swing high. And then you want to look at the 50% level, but most importantly, the 618. The 618 is the golden zone, one of the most common levels for pullbacks in any market. And then if we do bounce anywhere near there and we push on, it's possible that 618 will lead to further highs. So you could potentially take a trade. And what I've started to do is if it falls through the 618, then I'm going to assume the collection's dead. Now, it won't happen every single time, but I think 9 out of 10 times the collection will die if they've passed through that. So let's use some examples. So I'd click on these 4 lines here on the left, and it's the fib retracement tool. So it's the top one anyway. And then if you drag it from the swing low and then put the top line, the 0 line, over the swing high, you can see this one hit the 0.5 perfectly, literally to the tick. So it's the 0.5 and the 618 level that I'm looking at. So fine. So we retraced to there, hit that well. That potentially could have been an entry point, and then you run on forward. Good. So now we run, price runs and runs and runs and hits another high at 84. And then I'm doing the same technique, but this time it is less reliable because from here the pullback was a little bit lower. But the other kind of retracement level you can check is especially when you're working out the initial move, you check from the 0 level to see where the pullback is, from 0 all the way to the top, if it's a bigger retracement of that entire move. So that's another way you can check it. But now when we got to 100, if we take it from the swing low to the high, we've already broken through that, so we're already retracing. But if you take it from the 0 level as close as you can get, because it's very hard to mark the exact 0, so anywhere around here, minus 52,000, that's fine. And you go all the way to the top, you can see that we well passed through the 618 level. We did actually bounce there a little bit. So on a larger correction, if we got a bit of a bounce here and we started moving up in a stair-like fashion, then you could say, yes, we may be going to another 300 million. But when I show you dog with hat in a minute, you'll see that once it starts pushing up to higher levels, the pullbacks are always kind of shallow. They're never that big. So let me show you an example. This is dog with hat. Let's go right to the beginning and the initial moves. So initially, you can see here, all the way back here, it did a few deeper retracements, but it's the same kind of concept we're using. So initially here, we don't know if 12.5 is the top. And I generally tend to do, like I said, the 618 level, but it's not perfect. Sometimes price might break through a little bit more, but generally, around the 618 level, I'm hoping for a bounce. This actually broke a little bit more, so I personally might not have traded this. You can see there was support there, then we broke. But then if you see a break above the 618 quickly and aggressively, then obviously you can consider taking a position. And these are unique collections we're talking about here. These are not like the normal ones you might see. But anyway, let's go from swing low here on 13th of December to the 90 million mark. Let's see what the pullback was like there. Notice quite nicely bounce on the 618 with a tiny wick lower. Good support on the 618, and then we moved up. So we're moving up now in the next leg. So the next swing high is this point here. And then from that point there, 29 million, we went all the way up to 200 million. Crazy run. And then we had a pullback as well. And let's see what this one's like. So swing low to swing high. Notice we bounced on the 0.5 to 0.618 around that region, and then we pushed up again. So we could just repeat this again and again. And then, to be honest, here, most people, including myself, would completely... it doesn't matter then what the retracement is. We've pushed up too far for a meme coin. Like 300 million is already a massive amount. But this correction is now correcting the entire move. So here you don't do the fib from the last leg. You might do it, because we've had kind of like 5 waves up. You might do it from 0 level again. So let's just find a rough 0 level. Like I said, this is not perfect. It's just to give you an idea. And notice we were supporting on the 618 a lot. Supporting. And then we actually did break through, and then we pushed up for one more leg. But you don't want to get involved there. You don't want to be buying at 300 million to make like a less than 2x flip, a much less than 2x flip at such a big market cap coin that takes forever to move. You don't want to be doing that. So, like I said, the collection's holding strong, and these are bigger corrections along the way, but you're only concerned with the initial ones. These initial first ones, like for example, if you got in here at 30 and it goes to 300, that's 10x. Or if you got in here at 1 and 1 went to 80, that's 80x. You know what I mean? So that's where the multiples are. Further down the line, the multiples are not that good. This is Kok Inu. Another one I traded that did really well. This is on AVAX. And this initially got to a massive market cap, 48. So again, most people thinking, well, that's probably the top, because most meme coins will crash. And absolutely, I talk about that more than anybody. But is there any chance of these original one-off coins doing more? Let's try and find as close as we can to 0 level. Now you can actually expand the chart up to make it a little bit easier. So as close as we can to 0. So I'm just reading off the figures there. So probably here, about 11,000 market cap. That's as close as we can get. And then go right up to the top wick. So you can count the wick here if you want, the top of the levels, or you can do right to the top level. It doesn't really matter. But you can notice that it's the 0.618 level, the golden zone, which we bounced off very nicely. So if you see price messing about here and then pushing up, and on a smaller time frame, this is a 4-hour time frame. On a smaller time frame, you'll see nice stairs here. And then, yeah, you can trade it. And then this was going from 15, and then how far did we go on that? Literally one run up. This entire move was all the way to 298, 300 million. This was a crazy move, crazy 10x, nearly 15x move. And I figured that the very likely top was there. I had a look to see if there were some bounces. I was involved in this bounce as well. And then I was convinced it was dead. But actually, if you look back at the collection, you'll see that it went too deep. Now, over a long enough time frame and lots of correction, maybe it'll pick back up. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. We don't want to be involved in that. So if you actually have a look in terms of the Fibonacci here. So let's just have a look at this. So from swing low to swing high, again, these are not perfect, but literally there is no other way. Like otherwise you'll just randomly be saying, oh, I think that's the high, I think that's the low. That's not going to work. Notice 618, perfect bounce there. Perfect bounce. And what do you remember about Dog with Hat? It came to the 618 and then it went down, pulled back, and then it started breaking out, and then off and go. We were running. This did not do that. It failed. And because it failed through the 618, you could say basically here that the collection's done. You could say that. And when you look left for many, many weeks, almost months after, it's doing literally nothing. Now it's getting support at this lower level. And who knows, with time, it might actually start picking up and moving up, because it's done a very nice bounce from here, nearly a 2x. Who knows? But basically, in terms of that immediate move that we care about, the one that gets all the ROI and is faster as well, only takes a few days to get to 300-400 million market cap, that's done. So let's have a look at a couple of new collections. We've discussed a couple of older ones, classic ones. So this is something called the Fed. It's just a random collection that's launched, and you can see it was getting to 1 million. But the level that you want it to bounce out, especially from 0 to 1 million, so let me just show you here. So roughly, if you take the peaks there, roughly the 0.5 level where we were seeing some bouncing and then it failed, and then the 0.618 where we saw that initial bounce, but then it never broke new highs and then it failed. And you will know from my videos, if it goes to the 618 and then it pushes up, it needs to break all-time highs. We don't want it to hit a double top. It hit a double top. Even worse, it hit a triple top. Very, very strong topping sign, which means literally here was a very, very clear ceiling that it was never going to go over. And it only ever wicked up to that. The real highs were about here. So from there, we just kept dying down in terms of price. Now we're all the way down at 84, which is way, way below the 618 level. So that's it. That's the collection done and over with. If you look at Saitama, this one ran a little bit higher to almost 4 million. Let's have a look at the move. So again, we're going from 0 here, because this is all pretty much one move, but we can go to this high here, which was the 3 million. So let's try and find 0 level as close as we can. And let's go to this 3 million level. Where did we hit? Look at that. 0.5, double tap. That's another strategy I talk about in one of the videos, double tap. We tapped it twice, and then from there we pushed up. We didn't do great, 1.5, but that's still a 2x, more than a 2x. Went all the way up to nearly 4 million. And we touched that level. And then we bounced back. And we got some support at the 38.2, which doesn't matter too much. It's more the 0.5, 0.61. In this, we need to see some bouncing. We've pushed further down. Now, technically, the 786 is a level as well, so it's one to keep an eye on. It's a deeper level. But really, if it hasn't bounced at the 0.5 or 0.618, with the way meme coins are, especially in the early stages, where all the pump and interest is, it's very likely going to die off, and that's the end of that collection. And we can say, here's the top. Put the T there, and we're done. So always look for the 618 level in a lot of these meme coins. That's one of the best ways I found to say this is a top. You should be taking profit anyway. But if you're not involved in the collection and you're thinking, all right, let's do a pullback, 618 is a very good retracement. It's a deep retracement. So you're getting a massive discount because this was 4 million. And if it bounced at 618, you're buying it for 1 million. So you don't need to have FOMO. And you don't need to be upset that you missed all of the run because you're buying at 1 million. So if it runs to new highs of 10 million there, you're still doing a 10x in an already established collection, and you have much time to get in, so you can take your time. So Fibonacci, very powerful. Literally nobody in meme coins is doing stuff like this and using fib levels like this. So you'll be one of the very, very few people who are analyzing to this level, but it makes all the difference because you just need a couple of 5x or a couple of 10x trades to blow up your account. Thanks for listening.